Alright, who knows where this video is going to go again. I'm going to start off on the determinism argument. We're back to free will, scary as that may be. And then I'll try to connect it somehow to the events taking place in my YouTube life. So anyway, Matt, again, butchers determinism. So he has this example, or this evidence of something. That, okay, when you explain to people that it's a deterministic universe, it affects their behavior in a negative way and they become statistically cheaters more often. It just somehow destroys their human character. I'd first argue that, how was that survey done? I mean, exactly what were people explained about determinism? It seems to me you could just add an extra phrase. You could just add something like, you're part of a chain of cause and effect, and that the effect you produce will be a cause of the future, and that maybe then people would be more responsible rather than less responsible. Maybe they would be more disciplined in their behavior instead of less disciplined. So anyway, Nick responded, and he basically pointed out how this is a machine, okay? It's there's nothing arbitrary and ambiguous. Well, there's nothing spontaneous happening in here. All right, you have to be programmed. Memes have to come in before you can make memes come out. Something has to be inputted. It does the programming, it changes the arrangement, and the product is produced. It's cause and effect. That's the reality of the universe we exist in. And you can disagree, and that's your prerogative, but yeah, I think it's just a premise. I think if you are disagreeing, that you're wrong. Okay, you've missed it. You've gotten a vital truth wrong. All right, well, so Matt, Nick confirmed what Matt wants to basically say, which is somehow determinism isn't good for us. And so Nick verified that in his opinion, that, oh yes, it's something we can talk about, but yeah, we can't let the masses know, because it's going to destroy their character. It's going to destroy the functionality of their brain to find out that they're not somehow responsible. And I'm going to defend determinism. Determinism is responsibility. It's going to invoke responsibility in people, understanding that we are players, that we are obeying a script. I think empowers an intelligence to understand even clearer, even better, that they are a cog in this process, that they are a link, they are part of the chain, and they have a role to play, and they can play a good role or they can play a bad role. They can help build a better future. They can help destroy hope for a better future. We make things happen through our interaction with each other, through what we do, and I don't see how. I think determinism, taken to its logical conclusion, only empowers a brain to be more conscientious, more aware of what we are being manipulated by, what we are allowing to control our disposition, and our behavior. I think it is the road to developing character, introspection, critical thinking, critical judgment regarding what we're letting control us. And then I think anybody who believes in determinism can just see. They can see the animal inside of themselves. They can see the bacteria that we were spawned by. Okay, that's what we're a product of. We can see that illegitimate parentage, and we can overcome it with a better ideology. We won't be as controlled by our silly impulses. We'll be able to look into the future and say, oh yeah, but wait a minute, even when I get what I need, most of the time when I get what I want, guess what, the want wears, the satisfaction wears off, and I end up wanting more again. We can see our own psychology. We can analyze what's controlling us, and there are forces controlling us, and it's through seeing them, it's through playing our part, seeing through our part, okay, allowing information to influence us, that we can change our programming, that our programming becomes changed. We don't change it, the information changes it. So when you have this information, it can empower you to do a lot of reconstructing inside of your psychology. It can be very powerful. Yeah, but you give a half-truth, yeah, well, a half-truth can be a very dangerous thing. I mean, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, as they say. So yeah, if you're just going to give somebody the broken meme, the piece of a meme, and then say, well, look at the result, I'm going to say, fuck that experiment, it's bullshit. If that's what you're going to base your argument on, then you got to have a weak argument, Matt. I'm sorry. You have to do a little better than throwing some kind of, well, once they studied it and this is what they found. Well, come up with something a little more concrete than that. Exactly what did they tell these people? And then we can judge why that would have such a positive or a negative effect on their psychology. But it is just psychology, and you know it. And then underlying this whole conversation is the statement by Nick and Matt, basically, that somehow we should be lying to each other. The people should live a lie. They should live a false understanding of their existence in the universe, but somehow that will make them better. I mean, that's just going back to the religious argument that we need God. We need God's threats hanging over our heads to be ethical and decent human beings. That somehow people need that because they're not clever enough, they're not smart enough, their intelligence can't be informed enough to be able to see past that simple trickery. You know, that infantile psych game, like we're children, and we really do need to interact with each other as if we are children. We have to deceive each other and play games with each other's psychology. I mean, what a pile of shit that is. I mean, if that's the premise of your philosophy, that you know, human beings need to be ignorant, I mean, that's I just think that's an insane premise. Knowledge is power. Yeah, it can be disturbing, it can be unpleasant, it can be detrimental to what might be our self-interest, but it's not detrimental to our capacity to maximize our effect in the world, to get the most out of our life. And so then we're back to the equation that what is your life? Is your life what happens to your sense organs? Is that all it is? Are we going to sit there and narrow the human existence to just a bunch of individuals feeding their need, and we're going to go no further? We're not going to philosophize that there might be something more important, that there might be a bigger mission than just playing that role out? Yeah, I think there is. I think it's obvious that if we accept the premise, the concept of our equality, the nature of our equality, or however we want to describe it, the general fact of our intrinsic equality, that there really isn't any difference than you feeding your need than you feeding somebody else's need. And if you can more effectively feed 4 other people's need than your own need, then the logic becomes simple. I can be more productive by doing that than doing this, and that equations are always going to pop up in our lives, and we've got to be focused on them if we're going to be anything more than this stupid bacteria, than this stupid machine that just feeds itself and imbecilically creates copies of itself for no good reason whatsoever, but then because it has some kind of impulse, some sort of programming that says do that. People don't like this terminology, but yeah, we are addicts. We're addicted to this thing called life, and we have to understand our addiction to deal with our addiction, to be able to live past our addiction, to be functioning addicts. We really have to understand that we are addicts. I mean, it's fallacy to think that there's any other strategy that's going to work but us understanding the trap we are in. The only way out of the trap is to understand we are in a trap. If you haven't figured that part out, then there's very little hope that you're going to just accidentally wander out of the trap. So anyway, enough of that. So I'll connect this to these people who, you know, the haters out there, keep making videos. You know, I guess it was 3 or 4 of them today. And it's just so, the irony is just so grotesque. Because you know, they're calling me things like hypocritical prick. And I'm saying, well, yeah, there's a big difference between calling somebody a hypocritical prick and a skanky cunt, right? because that's what all this is based on. Apparently, I'm just way too offensive, and I call people fucktards, and that's just terrible. You can't do that in an argument. I've had year-long arguments with people. I mean, this isn't, I don't, the idea they say I block people so they can't respond. No, I block them because it's useless having conversations with assholes who are paying more attention to my fucking hair than they are to the fucking argument. All right? I don't block people for no reason. And then just the whole duplicity, like just disagreeing with me. It's not about disagreeing. It's about contemptuous and disgusting ideologies being forwarded by these people, and that's where this gets so fucking ironic, because these people griping are the ones they really, even you could see a little bit in one guy's video. He's talking about how, well, if he did meet me, what would he do? And he made some joke about me being homeless and begging for money. And it just made so clear that these really are these are the same people that they go for this white only crap. This is how they look at the world.